Hi guys, welcome back. Today I am doing something that I have never done before, and that is make a direct response to somebody else's video. It's not going to be a long response, and it's not even going to be a response to the entire video, but a video by a guy named Wizard of Cause. I believe his first name is Nicholas. Very cool guy, love his channel. He's one hell of a wordsmith. He made a video called Science or Social Justice. And in it, he was talking about the fact that scientists used to be treated as rock stars. They seemed to garner an incredible amount of fame and an incredible amount of respect. If you were an astronaut, for instance, you would be seen as something, just amazing. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. And then, of course, I realized exactly how much work would really go into that. And I realized that I'm not smart enough, nor am I that much of a risk taker. I just don't believe strapping rockets to my ass is the best way to be employed. I'm kind of a pussy as far as that goes. Sorry, that's where I draw the line. It still fascinates me. Space still fascinates me. Anyway, this is more about something that I realized as I was watching the video, and I wanted to comment on it really quickly. And anyway, I just wanted to read out what I wrote, and so I will. I think that the main reason that science was popular half a century ago or more is because the political pressure to compete was there, which can still be manufactured now should a group of politicians wish it, and more importantly, scientific advances directly help the common person. Poor people, middle class people, even rich people were helped by the advancements in science back then. But this wasn't always, of course, the case. There were side effects leading to the cynical view and counterculture of Generation X, toxic dumping, strip mining, all that kind of stuff. But the space craze was possible because it captured the imaginations of the general public. Sure, the funding and the politics were the largest factor in getting the ball rolling, but keeping up momentum relied entirely on public perception. So now, despite the large amount of media available to the public on the subjects of science, the focus seems to come from left-wing Bay Area ideologues. And the reasons for this, in my mind, is because there is little motivation for someone in a rural right-wing area to care about science unless it's right in front of them, and right in their face. They already know the benefit of better technology, and they are more aware of it than most people in big cities give them credit for. For instance, most people who live in rural settings have many different types of vehicles. They'll have ATVs, bikes, that kind of thing. They'll have generators on property. They'll have guns, of course. They will have all sorts of interesting weapons and so on and so forth, because they live out in the middle of nowhere and they're allowed to have practical technology. And as a result, they will usually have practical technology around them that is far more advanced than somebody who lives in the city, which is kind of ironic. Anyway, the advancements we now focus on are more of a form of augmented reality. So you have phone apps, programs, user interfaces, robots, and so on. None of them give a practical use in the meat world, which is what used to drive science in the 1950s, 1940s, 1960s, but all of them make for a more robust a more robust digital world. Side note, Christy ruined that word robust for me. This is because the vast majority of people now spend a lot of time online, staring at their phones or a computer screen instead of being concerned with the real world. Ergo, a new video game will trump a new gadget. A new phone app will trump a new kind of vehicle. A new user interface or a new social network will trump a new kind of sublight engine for space. And that's because it's unlikely for most people to use those gadgets, vehicles, engines, and practical technologies. It is incredibly likely that they will download a new set of emojis instead. It's no wonder that the cutting edge of technology involves drones, even bipedal and canine drones, or virtual reality. I had a conversation with a guy who was working in the industry, and they are actually seriously working on virtual smell. So that's a thing that's coming down the pipeline probably in the next 10 years. Or augmented reality. Failed Google Glass was really only the beginning, as far as I'm concerned. The point is that science isn't sexy to people that don't benefit directly or obviously from it. It's why we have creationists who make videos on iPhones about how evil science is. The solution to this is to show people that the shit you are researching can benefit them. In order to do that, we need people like Elon Musk to be in the middlemen between innovation and practicality. Except unlike Elon Musk, we need people to be honest and not build shit that doesn't work. SpaceX rockets and the Hyperloop, as an example. You can clearly see that their marketing works anytime you can convince someone that something that seems impossible can be scienced into possibility, they become immediately interested. Even people who are jaded and are completely tied to the virtual world of the internet. Unfortunately, they keep marketing shit that is worthless or simply a scam. Solar roadways, turning air into plastics, the hyper death loop, and so on. All of these things are very impressive, and they garner rock star level of interest from the public, but they ultimately harm scientific progress because all of them are bullshit marketing ploys instead of actual scientific advancement. I think the real problem now is that the money comes from interest, not from science. The science is a byproduct. The people who make money are going to be making money off of Kickstarters, GoFundMes, and basically any kind of investments that they can get their hands on from the general public and from wealthy investors. They don't care whether or not the product really works. They only care that it can look like it works. That's why the Hyperloop got off the ground in the first place. That's why they're trying to build the damn thing. Even though it is a Herculean impossibility, it will not work. 400 kilometers of vacuum tubing will not work. If they put it underground, it might work, but then again, if something goes wrong in a 400 kilometer long tube that is vacuum sealed and you are stuck inside of it as a passenger, you're dead. Let's assume you survive the crash because something goes wrong, and so air rushes down the tube in an explosive force, and you survive that. Everybody on your tube survives it. You are now stuck in a 400 kilometer long vacuum tube that you can't get out of. And they haven't planned for this. They haven't created any safeguards for this. They haven't given the public any sort of reassurance that this kind of thing is something that they've actually looked into. No, they are simply saying it's going to be amazing. You can get to LA from San Francisco in 15 minutes. Knowing full well that you can get to LA from San Francisco in like an hour. So, in the amount of time it takes to get on the Hyperloop and get off the Hyperloop, it will have taken you the same amount of time to get on an airplane and land. It's not progress, but it looks really impressive. And that gets the people money. The people who are in charge of the project get money from investors and from the public because it looks impressive. If science isn't impressive, they think, then science isn't worth it. So people who write equations for energy conservation, or people who work on physics, or who are engineers and just do the basic stuff, they don't get any attention. People who go to space now, doesn't matter, because what are you doing in space? If you're not on camera, throwing a tennis ball across the screen so you can see how it looks when it spins in zero gravity, no one cares. No one's going to care. Except for the hardcore people who really were very interested in science and in space and so on. They'll be into it, of course, but we're just a small group of people. We're not the general public, and we certainly aren't wealthy investors who think they might get a return on their investment. The difference between practical science and impressive science is a thin one, is a very thin line between the two. And it has to do mostly with marketing, but the people who are in charge of marketing, to be honest with you, they don't really see that there's any reason to connect the two. How do you make a new microwave impressive? Back in the 50s, that was a really easy thing because cooking without, fire was just unheard of. Really? You can cook things without fire? You can put this thing in a box and it will cook itself? That's insane. Now we're like, a microwave. I don't even care about a microwave. You're trying to sell me a microwave? I don't care. Try to sell a microwave to somebody now who's seen a microwave. Unless it's cheap, they don't care. It's the burden of technological advancement, is that it doesn't stay impressive. Once the impossible becomes possible, now it's just the everyday. Anyway, it's gonna do it for me. I know that was 10 minutes of me bullshitting into a microphone. I really do like your channel, Wizard of Cause. Like I said, you're one hell of a wordsmith. This is the first time, probably the only time, I'm ever going to spout some nonsense as a response to somebody else's video. Again, don't disagree with anything you said. Just wanted to add my little piece to it. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like and subscribe if you hear this stuff and you like what I said. And I'll see you guys another time.